Hey guys, Dan here. Welcome to another edition of Dan Reviews It. You may be able to tell from my voice I'm getting over a cold here, but I wanted to put a video up because the new TV season is upon us. Roseanne, of course, last year was a huge boon to my channel. I found a lot of new viewers with my Roseanne reviews, but we are still about a month away from The Conners, which, of course, is the new version of Roseanne. So I thought I would do a video about another big revival that has been in the news lately, and that is Murphy Brown, which premiered just a few hours ago on CBS. Moved from its Monday time to Thursday, which I thought was interesting because Roseanne kept on the Tuesday nights. Will and Grace, they kept it on Thursdays. And it's not like CBS doesn't have comedies on Mondays. But for whatever reason, they decided to put it in their Thursday night lineup, which, I mean, Big Bang Theory's in its last season now, and it'll probably go out the #1 sitcom on TV. Young Sheldon's doing very well. So I guess it makes sense to, to bring in Murphy on Thursday nights. I think Mom, I guess, is the other show on Thursdays, and that's in its 6th season, I think, now. So, obviously they got a Thursday powerhouse lineup. Why not, put one of your high-profile shows on there. And so now we have Murphy Brown, Season 11. So I guess a little backstory with me and Murphy Brown, the show, kind of like I did with Roseanne when I was starting those reviews. Murphy Brown was on for 10 years, and I would say I only really kept up live with about 3 or 4 years of it, and then caught the rest in reruns, in syndication or Nick at Night or whatever. I was a little bit young when Murphy Brown started to really be able to watch it and understand the political jokes and stuff. So it wasn't really till I would say like season 3 or 4, maybe, probably season 3, that I kind of caught on with it. And then the last 2 or 3 years was on when I was in college, so I just wasn't keeping up with current TV at the time. So didn't really watch those episodes until much later. Like Lily Tomlin comes on the last season after Miles leaves, and Murphy has a cancer scare and all this. So that was all sort of after I had stopped watching it, and I'd caught those years later. But for the core 4 years or so that I was watching, maybe even 5 years, it was a great show. I was watching during the whole height of the Dan Quayle thing, and when he was firing shots at her for being a single mother and all this. And I always really liked Murphy Brown. But, look, it's not to the esteem for me as Roseanne was, or, Cheers was my favorite show growing up, so, it wasn't quite to that level, or, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the ones I watched, in high school, like Night Court I really liked. That was more middle school, I guess, but Murphy was definitely it was appointment. I mean, I watched it just about every Monday, on CBS. So, and it's really one of the few shows I watched on CBS as a kid. I didn't really watch, Murder, She Wrote was a big show for them when I was growing up. I didn't watch that. They were more of the old Fogey Network when I was a kid. And, for me, it was more Fox, and ABC and NBC had the comedies and whatever. So I liked Murphy Brown a lot, but something we'll discuss, I think, with this episode, Fake News, which is the season premiere, the reboot premiere, I guess we could say, is that its shelf life is not long. And this is a problem with, when they were trying to syndicate it, and that's why you don't see it on TV anymore. Like, Roseanne is still shown on so many channels, and a lot, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Seinfeld and Friends, all these hot shows from the 90s. And while Murphy Brown did great in the ratings at the time, the shelf life on a show that is that topical is not going to be long, so it's interesting that they would bring a show like this back. It will do very well probably for its demographic. I'm recording this really just hours after the premiere, so I have no idea what the numbers are going to be like. I can't imagine it's going to do Roseanne numbers, and it's also against Fox's Thursday Night Football, which is new this season, I guess, for Fox. So I don't follow football, but I understand it's their first Thursday Night Football lineup. So, it's going against football, which obviously is huge. So, it's not going to do those kind of numbers. Will it do Will and Grace numbers? Maybe. So let's talk about the episode, I guess, in full, and really the setup and the premise for the reboot. So Murphy has been out of the news game for a few years, and she's seeing everything going on and people crying fake news, and she was enraged by Trump winning and all of this, which is a major plot point. And so she decides to sort of get her buddies back together: Frank Fontana, Corky Sherwood, producer Miles, and all the cast members, reprising their roles here, at least those that I mentioned. And, they're going to go on to cable news now. They were on a network, like 2020 type show, and now they're going to be on a cable morning news show. And Murphy's son, Avery, who was born, in probably the highest rated episode of the series. I would have to look into that, but I would guess, with all the Dan Quayle stuff, that the birth of Avery was the highest rated episode Murphy Brown ever had. So we bring him in, and the actor's name is Jake McDorman. And if you watched the TV show Limitless, which I did, he was very good in that. That was a lot more action, sci-fi oriented, and dramatic, but it had a little bit of a comedic sense of timing to it and everything, and he really is good here as the grown-up Avery, who is 28. Personally, I think the actor has got to be older than that. I would say my guess would be like 35. I mean, when I watched Limitless, I did not think he was 28, that's for sure. Or he's 32. All right, so that's all right. That's not bad. But anyway, so he's playing 28-year-old Avery, and Avery has become a reporter in his own right. And now we find out about midway through the episode that he is going to have his own morning cable news show on the Wolf Network, which obviously is, is a stand-in for Fox News, and he's going to be the only liberal voice on this channel. So we, we see that the two of them are going to battle it out, in the morning cable news showdown, whatever. I won't tell you who wins at the end of the episode, because I don't like to give spoilers, and I won't here either. But so that's sort of what this episode is about, sort of the rebranding of Murphy Brown as an anchor, whilst jumping into kind of a new market for her. She was very comfortable with her, weekly news magazine program on a, national network, public network, and now she's going to 5-day-a-week cable. So let's talk about the good first, and then we'll get to some of the not-so-good stuff. Everybody here, boom. It's light switch, back on. I would say probably Frank more than most. That's Joe Regalbuto, who has always been one of my favorite characters. I've always loved Frank. He comes in, I think he's the third person that we see. Well, I guess we see Murphy first with her son, and then I think we see him next, and then Corky, and then Miles. But he is just, and it probably helps that we don't see him doing a lot of other things. You don't see him pop up a lot on TV or movies like you do Candice Bergen here or there, and even Faith Ford, has done some stuff here or there. But so he just nails it, right back into where he started. And I think Bergen does a great job as Murphy. That's certainly her most iconic role. She's done a lot of movies over the years, but no question about it, Murphy Brown will be her legacy. So she also just, gets right back into it. Miles is good. You know, he gets a couple of good lines. They do also introduce a couple of other new characters other than Avery, who I guess isn't technically a new character, but certainly a new actor. The gentleman who ran Pat Corley, passed away years ago. So we have his sister filling in. Phyllis is her name, and it's played by she is played by Tyne Daly, who I love. You know, she pops up and stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's good old Tyne Daly. So we didn't see too much of her in this episode, but from what I've read, she's going to be sort of the anti-Pat. Like, Pat was, in Murphy's corner, and always supporting the staff and everything. I guess Phyllis is going to be sort of the anti-Pat. Not that she's going to be horrible to them or whatever, but just that she gives them what for, I guess, and sort of is the truth teller of the group or whatever. So I guess we'll see that more in later episodes. That wasn't really prevalent, in this one tonight. And then we also have the IT guy, kind of not really producer, but he was certainly shouting things to Murphy about her Twitter feed towards the end of the episode. I want to get his name right. Nick Dodani? I don't know him, but he is on this Netflix show Atypical, which I keep hearing about. So if you are a fan of that, maybe you will recognize him. Anything else that he's done? Not really. Yeah, just an episode here or there of different shows. A couple episodes of The Comeback. But anyway, so he adds, something new to the cast as well. Because we do lose a few people. Robert Pastorelli, who played Eldon, passed away years ago. And Charles Kimbrough, who played Jim Dial, will be appearing in at least a couple episodes this season. I think episode 3, from what I read, is going to be his first. And then maybe in later seasons he'll be in it more if they keep going. But he's just not in the best health, so he wanted to be a part of it, but couldn't do a regular role. And he was always, kind of the old stalwart of the cast anyway, so that does make sense. So, yeah, I mean, that's really the best part of it, is that they have captured the spirit of the original instantly, which is something I think that Roseanne did as well, and I think Will and Grace did for the most part. I think it took them a little bit longer to find their footing. It's hard not to compare all of these reboots, and I do apologize for continually referencing Roseanne and Will and Grace, and I didn't actually watch the X-Files reboot just because I kind of stopped X-Files at like season 5. But obviously that's a different animal entirely because it's not a sitcom either, so it's easier to kind of cull from Roseanne and Will and Grace. But so it does have that going for it. It's got the old Murphy Brown charm and style, and everything does seem the same, which is good, I think. And Diane English is back at the helm. She left the original show, a few seasons before it ended, maybe even 3 or 4 seasons before it ended. I don't really remember, but Diane English is back. And she wrote this episode, so she obviously, has a vision for this character that she created and what she wants to accomplish in this season, and that's good. So here's the bad. I think there's probably more bad than good, to be honest. I think the show tries too hard, which, I was thinking about, okay, why is that? Because it's not like they're doing anything necessarily that different from the style before. It's always been a very political show. It's always been a very left-leaning political show. But I think what I came up with is that when Murphy Brown was first on, there just wasn't that many outlets for that type of comedy. You had Saturday Night Live doing political humor. Johnny Carson would do political jokes, but they were very kind of milquetoast, as the Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon doesn't really even do Trump jokes now that are that heavy, and certainly Leno didn't either. That's sort of the Tonight Show brand. So you had SNL, you had David Letterman, doing a few things. But God, when Murphy Brown started, David Letterman was on at 12:35. He didn't even have the CBS show yet at 11:35. So it's like, Arsenio Hall had just kind of started. I watched him a lot growing up. I don't remember him being overly political. But now you've got The Daily Show, Samantha Bee, all of the late night shows, except for, I guess, Fallon and Conan, really, who I love Conan. But, they don't do a lot of hard-hitting political jokes, but Colbert does, and Kimmel certainly does, and, Seth Meyers, obviously, and you still have SNL. And, so I think there's so many politically driven comedy shows now. I just don't think it's as novel anymore. Plus, we're coming out now 2 years almost after the election, so a lot of things have already been said, and I think this pilot lacks that sort of nuance, I guess. It's like it's there's no subtlety, there's no, it's all very, here it is, Trump joke, obvious punchline. So the things that worked the most for me, and maybe the only things I got laughs out of, were the character-driven pieces. There is a guest star that I won't reveal that is great, gets maybe the best line in the episode. This person portrays Murphy's would-be secretary. If you're familiar with the show, a running gag is that Murphy always, had a different secretary every episode. So, we see the guest star in that role and giving a great line. And there's a few other jokes, but they're all, everything I laughed at, I think, was more character-driven. And maybe narrative-driven, about her and Avery going back and forth on the morning show. I don't think any of the jokes I laughed at were political, to be honest. And it's not that I mind a political joke, and if you watch my channel, from the Roseanne stuff, I'm, left-leaning, I voted for Hillary, blah, blah, blah. All this if you watch the channel. So, I love The Daily Show, and I enjoy Saturday Night Live and everything. So it's not that I don't like a good political joke. I don't think this episode brought anything new to the table, and clearly it was written very recently, because there is an Aretha Franklin tribute line that really was like, oh, that was nice, that got to me a little bit. And Aretha just died, I don't know, less than a month ago, I think. So obviously this is very fresh. So why are the jokes a little more stale than they should be, I guess? So that didn't really work. And here again, just the shelf life of these episodes are not going to last, I think, as long as Roseanne Season 10, the Will and Grace revival, a lot of these other shows. And even, I don't know, 30 Rock had a lot of, political leaning humor to it. But it was all very sort of fake, I guess. Like, they never went after real people, I feel like, on 30 Rock. So that's sort of the stuff that stands a little more on the test of time. There was an okay Trump tweet bit that becomes a plot point towards the end of the episode. But, again, we've seen a lot of this stuff before. Like the Indian descent, IT guy. We've kind of seen that, and it's not necessarily that he's even of Indian descent, which they do reference in the episode, but it's more that he's the young hip millennial, and they're the old crew. And CBS just did a whole show about that 2 seasons ago with Joel McHale. It was called The Great Indoors, I believe, and it was okay, but that whole show was based on, like, the old Joe McHale's the old guy, he doesn't understand millennials, And then they got some good jokes out of that premise, but it was like, you could see why it got canceled after a season. So that sort of falls a little flat. Murphy wearing a nasty girl shirt, or a nasty woman shirt in the first or second scene. Okay, well, Jackie already did that on Roseanne. Like, they did that gag. So I don't know. I am certainly going to keep watching. This actually is the first show I've seen of the new season so far. I did want to check out some of the other shows that they have been advertising, but I'm so far behind on TV. I'm still watching like shows from the middle of last season. So, but I definitely wanted to watch this and put a review up. So I guess I will leave fake news with a B. But really, I think an episode by itself, I think, would be more of a B minus probably, because the writing is just not up to snuff. But look, it is hard to come back. Will and Grace definitely took a few episodes to find its footing. I think it was probably maybe episode 4 or 5 before I really got a few huge laughs in a singular episode of the new Will and Grace. So certainly once these characters sort of reinvent themselves, or we get reacquainted with them, maybe I should say, maybe things will fall into place a little bit more. But it was an okay start for sure. I'd like to see more Tyne Daly, but obviously this is the pilot. It's not about her. She'll be in it later. But I do like the Murphy-Avery connection. I really like that they're going to be up against each other in the morning news thing. I think that's kind of a cool little plot point that we can look forward to in future episodes. And I think everybody was on their mark. Nobody, like Becky, for example, and Roseanne, it was like, oh, her again when she showed up in a scene. Here everybody is on the mark for sure. The writing needs to be a little sharper, and we need to I know they're going to do a lot of political stuff. That's the trademark of the show. But I want to see maybe an even balance between character and political. I don't think that's too much to ask, honestly. But so that's it. I give the not the pilot, but the season premiere, a B, and hopefully, we'll find our groove here by the 3rd or 4th episode of Murphy. I think there's 13 episodes total that were commissioned, so we'll see. But yeah, I do want to check out some of these other new shows. So you may see some standalone reviews for the premieres of other series that are currently on or just about to start or whatever. And then obviously the Connors in a few weeks. And I do want to get back to doing some other reviews. I've actually gone through a few older TV shows that I want to review just in full, not do like season by season stuff like I did with Roseanne, but just in full, here's all 5 seasons of whatever, and kind of break it down, talk about the history a little bit of it too. To sort of differentiate maybe from other review shows that are out there. But that's it. My voice is about gone. I didn't expect to be talking this long. But sometimes I get on a roll. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Tell a friend about the channel if you think he or she might be interested in hearing about Murphy Brown and Roseanne and some of the other stuff I get into on the show. But please comment. I love hearing from you, positive or negative. Let me know your thoughts if you watched this episode of Murphy Brown. Let me know what you thought of it. And that's about it. Check us out on Facebook as well. And that's all I got for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.